All right. So, Bhante Kusala's, you showed up at Dhamma around 2013 and
Yeah,
met Bhante and did some retreats and have been in and out ever since. And you've done I think several years of retreats here.
yeah.
Very successful retreats, I might say. And we are doing another retreat, April, is it 9th? Another 10-day TWIM retreat with Bhante here at Dhamma, and invite everybody to join. So, with that, I'll give you the microphone, I guess.
Let's pay homage to the Buddha. Please join your palms together and gently close your eyes and join me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully self-awakened One. Homage to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully self-awakened One. Homage to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully self-awakened One. Thank you, David, for this invitation, and thank you, Kirsten and Delson, all for being here and supporting this session. And I suggested that we discuss one of the very beautiful discourses of the Buddha. It's a long one, and we can just discuss the idea of it. And the reason I love this discourse is that people need to hear this discourse often, very often. And one reason, the practical reason of this discourse for us monks is that, when we are monks, we live together as a community, and we do one practice. We do loving kindness practice, compassion practice, and practice of joy and practice of equanimity. And we also do 7 factors of awakening, bojjhaṅgas, mindfulness, investigation of the experience, energy, joy, tranquility, equanimity, and all these 7 factors. Somewhere in that practice, we forget loving kindness. So we practice it angrily. We practice whatever we practice, forgetting that we need to have self-directed loving kindness or compassion. And we try to be perfect in our practice, and somewhere along the line we forget that we should do it with that kind of loving kindness. So this is a discourse that teaches that the value of having sublime states, the Brahma Viharas, together with the 7 factors of awakening. So let's go to the discourse and read a little bit, and then we discuss it. Yeah. Let me see if I can share the screen. Yeah, I can. So the way Bhikkhu Bodhi translated this title, Mettā Sahagata. So Sahagata is accompanied by. Metta, of course, is loving kindness. This discourse is found in connected discourses of the Buddha, Saṁyutta Nikāya. So on one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling among the Kaulians, where there was a town of the Kaulians named Haliddavasana. So this discourse is also called Haliddavasana Sutta. Then in the morning, a number of bhikkhus dressed and taking their bowls and robes entered Halidavasana for alms. Then it occurred to them, it is still too early to walk for alms in Halidavasana. Let us go to the park of the wanderers of other sects. This is a practice that monks do sometimes when they have more time before their alms round. They would visit the other wanderers and their ashrams. Then those bhikkhus went to the park of the wanderers of other sects. They exchanged greetings with those wanderers, and when they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, sat down to one side. The wanderers then said to them, "Friends, the ascetic Gautama teaches the Dhamma to his disciples thus: Come, bhikkhus, abandon the 5 hindrances, the corruptions of the mind that weaken wisdom, and dwell pervading one quarter with the mind imbued with loving kindness. Likewise the 2nd quarter, the 3rd quarter, and the 4th quarter, thus above, below, across, and everywhere, and to all as to oneself, dwell pervading the entire world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, vast, exalted, measureless, without hostility, without ill will. Dwell pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with compassion. Likewise the 2nd quarter, the 3rd quarter, and the 4th quarter, thus above, below, across, and everywhere, and to all as to oneself, dwell pervading the entire world with a mind imbued with compassion, vast, exalted, measureless, with hostility, without ill will. Dwell pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with altruistic joy. Likewise the 2nd quarter, the 3rd quarter, and the 4th quarter, thus above, below, across, and everywhere, and to all as to oneself, dwell pervading the entire world with a mind imbued with altruistic joy, vast, exalted, measureless, without hostility, without ill will. Dwell pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with equanimity. Likewise the 2nd quarter, the 3rd quarter, and the 4th quarter, thus above, below, across, and everywhere, and to all as to oneself, dwell pervading the entire world with a mind imbued with equanimity, vast, exalted, measureless, without hostility, without ill will. So they say something like the Mettā Sutta, where you do the practice of loving kindness and a little bit beyond compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. And this sounds like the entire Buddhist practice. We too, friends, teach the Dhamma to our disciples thus: come, do exactly as that first passage read. So they ask this question: so friends, what here is the distinction, the disparity, the difference between the ascetic Gautama and us, that is, regarding the 1 hour Dhamma teaching, regarding the one Dhamma teaching and the other, regarding the one manner of instruction and the other. So then those bhikkhus neither delighted in nor rejected the statement of those wanderers. Without delighting in it, without rejecting it, they rose from their seats and left, thinking, we shall learn the meaning of this statement in the presence of the Blessed One. Then, when those bhikkhus had walked for alms in Halidavasana and had returned from alms round after their meal, they approached the Blessed One. Having paid homage to him, they sat down to one side and reported to him the entire discussion between those wanderers and themselves. The Buddha said, Bhikkhus, when wanderers of other sects speak thus, they should be asked, friends, how is the liberation of the mind by loving kindness developed? So the Buddha is focusing on the goals of practicing loving kindness. What does it have as its destination, its culmination, its fruit, its final goal? How is the liberation of the mind by compassion developed? What does it have as its destination, its culmination, its fruit, its final goal? How is the liberation of the mind by altruistic joy developed? What does it have as its destination, its culmination, its fruit, and its final goal? How is the liberation of the mind by equanimity developed? What does it have as its destination, its culmination, its fruit, its final goal? Being asked thus, those wanderers would not be able to reply, and further they would meet with vexation. For what reason? Because that would not be within their domain. I do not see anyone, bhikkhus, in this world, with its devas, maras and brahma, in this generation with its ascetics and brahmins, its devas and humans, who could satisfy the mind with an answer to these questions, except the Tathagata, or a disciple of the Tathagata, or one who has heard it from them. So it's like, when you go to Costco, you see the same fruit jams but with different labels, and you see the Buddhist fruit jam and the non-Buddhist fruit jam, and you want to compare the two, and you realize that the Buddhist one lead you to a certain kind of taste, and the non-Buddhist one doesn't give you it. It looks the same, it has the same kind of color, the jar and the labeling, but it has a different kind of taste. So this is what the Buddha is showing here. And then he shows how each sublime state takes you to a certain destination, and how, bhikkhus, is the liberation of the mind by loving kindness developed. What does it have as its destination, its culmination, its fruit, and its final goal? So if you think of this statement, what does it have as its destination, its culmination? When do we know that you have brought your loving kindness to the fullest development, that you have reached that state where you know that your loving kindness has reached to the highest level, to the final fruit, final ripening, final goal? Here, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu develops the enlightenment factor of mindfulness, accompanied by loving kindness. See now, the 7 factors of awakening developed with the loving kindness. So loving kindness with 7 factors of mindfulness, loving kindness with the enlightenment factor of investigation of experience, loving kindness with energy, loving kindness with joy, loving kindness with tranquility, loving kindness with stillness of the mind, loving kindness with equanimity. So all of these practices, all of these 7 factors of awakening has loving kindness at the root of it and at the whole of it. And there are these specific words that we need to not miss. See, based upon seclusion. So seclusion from what? Seclusion from sensual desires, seclusion from unwholesome states of the mind. So in there is also abandoning of 5 hindrances and 10 unwholesome states, and also dispassion, letting go, and cessation, and maturing in release. You see, when you listen to the first sermon of the Buddha, and he there teaches mutti, analayo, chago, patinissago. Mutti is freedom, analayo is non-attachment, chago is letting go, patinissago is or Patinissago is non-association. So mutti, analeo, chago, patinissago. These words, and in these four other words, seclusion, dispassion, cessation, maturing in release, these are somewhat like very cryptic, like so important words. Sometimes we often ignore them. So when we look at a discourse, remembering these four words, four terms, will be very important for our practice, and this is where we find the inspiration, the strength to stick with the actual Buddhist inspired practice, the actual tranquility, wisdom, insight with our meditation practice, the TWIM practice. This is when we bring our practice into a steady path. So if you look at the Eightfold Path, for example, and you look at the second aspect of it, the Samma Sankappa, right intentions. So right intentions has loving kindness in it. So when you are practicing some technique like Metta practice or breathing practice or some kind of light kasina kind of practice, all of these can have these words: seclusion, dispassion, cessation, maturing in release, as well as the Eightfold Path in it, especially the second aspect of the Eightfold Path, where you see right intentions. So there you find three kinds of intentions. Nekkhamma Sankappa, that is the intention of renunciation, right? Intention of seclusion, dispassion, cessation, maturing in release. So that is there. And then Avyapada Sankappa. Avyapada means no vyapada, no anger. That means having loving kindness in your heart, imbued with loving kindness. And then Avihimsa Sankappa. Hinsa is being cruel to oneself, being cruel to others. If you take Atta Kilamatanu Yoga, doing a practice that aligns with something like self-mortification, this is a practice that is rooted in hinsa, being cruel to oneself. So we abandon those kind of extremes and we choose non-cruelty. Non-cruelty is having a practice rooted in compassion, right? So right there you find yourself practicing the Eightfold Path, practicing along with the first sermon of the Buddha, mutti, freedom, analeo, non-attachment, chago, letting go and abandoning these unwholesome states and hindrances, patinissago, non-association of these unwholesome states. Once you let go, you don't come back to them. You abandon them. And you do that as a practice again and again and again. So you see, you develop this kind of wisdom where you can put all these pieces together and see that they are intertwined. And this then takes us to another interesting aspect of this discourse, where we see, if he wishes, may I dwell perceiving the repulsive in the unrepulsive. He dwells perceiving the repulsive therein. If he wishes, may I dwell perceiving the unrepulsive in the repulsive. He dwells perceiving the unrepulsive therein. So this, I guess, shows about free will, and you can change the way of your course of your thoughts. And you see, in a practice like this, the ugliest thing out there, visibly very ugly thing in front of you, you start seeing it with a mind imbued with loving kindness. And it's no longer ugly, no longer that thing that brings you that urge to reject it and have angry thoughts in your mind. Say when you are in a retreat center, you have a schedule and you have to get up at a certain minute or a time, and you don't like it. Naturally, your mind will say, sleep more. So your mind will pull you toward more of that sloth and torpor state. So you hate the person who set up the schedule. And you start having thoughts about, who did this? Maybe an old somebody who cannot sleep in this hour. So you have this line of thoughts that are really weighing you down and putting, you are now forgetting mindfulness there. You are forgetting loving kindness there, and that you want to let go of this entire retreat thing and go home and go to your car or get some sleep and hide from everybody. This is where you can bring to mind that something is right with me. Something is right with my practice, that something that is supposed to happen in a certain way is showing up now, that it is time for me to bring mindfulness, loving kindness, and compassion, equanimity, joy into my heart. And I carry it with me to the Dhamma hall. I sit there, wait for someone to administer the 8 or 10 precepts and start the day fresh. And when you see that repulsiveness and unrepulsiveness, or you see someone you don't like to see in the morning, you just trip over and try to fall, or all these other things happen. You see the world looks ugly to you in that moment, and you decide, this is the nature of things. I can hold this in a way of being repulsed by it, or I can also hold it in a way it's non-repulsive. It's the way it is. Conditions are present here. They arise in a certain way. When conditions are absent, they disappear. So this is what the practice is. And you go to the bathroom in the morning, and someone else has used it, and you see stuff that someone has forgotten to remove their stuff, or they haven't flushed, or they have left stuff in the sink, or they haven't wiped off the sink. And this is a great person for you to really, you don't know the person, or if you do know the person, even then you bring loving kindness to that person. You bring repulsiveness and unrepulsiveness to your heart. You see, this is beautiful. I can take a minute. I can take a towel and wipe this off. And in that moment, I'm seeing my loving kindness practice going. I'm seeing my mindfulness maturing. I'm seeing that my practice is strengthening. My mind is seeing beauty in this moment that I can let go. And you are not even in your cushion or in the seat. You are here in this moment experiencing repulsiveness, and that's totally an amazing moment for you to bring to heart loving kindness. And you are not seeing a person here anymore. You are seeing conditions arising in your mind and conditions disappearing in your mind. So you see TWIM's W, the wisdom aspect, shows up, and that you are being led toward liberation in the bathroom, right there, right in front of the sink. You didn't have to listen to an entire 1 hour of a Dhamma talk for that wisdom to arise. You just had to be present. right there with what is, you can use 6 hours there. Recognize, release, relax. You see, re-smile, return, repeat. That was that moment where when you chose to re-smile, you are not with repulsiveness anymore. You are with unrepulsive. Your mind is bringing up something wholesome. Your mind is lovingly holding that moment, and that you are no longer a person with aversion. You are being headed toward anagami state, which is one of the finest states you can reach. Anagami means non-returner. Non-returning to what? Not returning to anger, repulsiveness, fighting, wanting somebody else to be different from who they are. Maybe they just rush to get their towel, and in that moment they haven't finished their full bathroom course, and you happen to enter. You have all kinds of reasons to think about other people's behaviors, and yet you chose loving kindness. You chose non-repulsiveness. You chose to be awakened in that moment. And in that moment, you are choosing higher states of development of your mind. May I dwell perceiving the repulsive in the unrepulsive. He dwells perceiving the repulsive therein. So, say repulsive and unrepulsive. Something is not repulsive. Something like a say flower vase in the bathroom, right there, and you start seeing this, or an image that is there. Sometimes in bathrooms they put some images that are attractive, and you see it in terms of 4 elements: the earth element, water element, fire element, heat element. You see the air element, not earth, water, fire, and air element. You see that the evaporation of this image right in front of you, evaporation of this vase right in front of you. So what appeared to be so beautiful is no more that way. And you can also bring dependent co-arising into the experience there, that the seeing activity happens because there is an image and because of the physical eye, and you being conscious, and 3 things coming together makes a contact, and when that contact is made, there is a feeling that is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, and you just see how that process started and how the vanishing of that process happens right then and there. And with a pleasant feeling you like it, unpleasant feeling you dislike it. Yeah, there is aversion there. There is an opportunity for us to bring loving kindness to that moment. And if it is a neutral feeling, you see the I is made in there, that there is ignorance, therefore we ignore that moment where the neutral feeling arose, and that you let go of that whole concept of ignorance by bringing wisdom to it, that this concept of I, me, myself is present. So bring to your heart the Majjhima Nikāya 148, where the underlying tendency of neutral feelings is ignorance, that there is I, me, myself present in it. When you clearly see the conditionality there, you are no more caught up in the rebirth cycle. So let's take to heart that goal that the Buddha has shown us, and how bhikkhus see the liberation of the mind by, okay, so right before that, avoiding both the repulsive and the unrepulsive, and the unrepulsive and the repulsive, may I dwell equanimously, mindful and clearly comprehending. Then he, so this is about equanimity. before that you see mindful and clearly comprehending, or else he enters and dwells in the deliverance of the beautiful. Because the liberation of the mind by the loving kindness has the beautiful as its culmination. I say, for a wise monk here who has not penetrated to a superior liberation. So there is more to go, more to develop, and yet because of your loving kindness, you accompanying loving kindness with your 7 factors of awakening, and with everything you do, your mind comes to a place called Subha Vimokha, liberation in the beautiful. And Bhante used to teach this as the state that is before arupas. So you are reaching to one of the 4 jhanas that has a beautiful experience in your mind, and especially you come to a state where you are in the 4th jhana. And the reason why Bhante said it that way is because when you practice compassion, it takes you to infinite space, as the Discourse shows. See, enters and dwells in the base of infinity of space, because the liberation of mind by compassion has the base of the infinity of space as its culmination. So if compassion takes you to infinity of space, and right before the infinity of space is the 4 jhanas. So Bhante used to highlight that Subha state of the mind, the beautiful state of the mind, is bringing your mind to the fullest of loving kindness, rooted in the sublime state of loving kindness, together with this one of the 4 jhanas, especially the 4th jhana, where you have no disturbance from hindrances, no disturbance from mind, no disturbance from the body, nor disturbance from anything whatsoever. You are just in a very peaceful state of mind. And then we are skipping some parts to get to the book. Completely transcending the base of the infinity of space, aware that consciousness is infinite, he enters and dwells in the base of the infinity of consciousness. This is another arupa, immaterial state, because the liberation of mind by altruistic joy has the base of the infinity of consciousness as its culmination. I say, for a wise bhikkhu here who has not penetrated to a superior liberation. And finally, he enters and dwells in the base of nothingness, because the liberation of mind by equanimity has the base of nothingness as its culmination. I say, for a wise bhikkhu here who has not penetrated to a superior liberation. So beyond nothingness, as a arupa state, is neither perception nor non-perception. So superior liberation is either neither perception nor non-perception, or when you are not perceiving anything, you may experience cessation of perception, feelings, and consciousness, when consciousness has no thing to be conscious on, like feelings or perceptions, nothing to perceive. It's ripe and ready to experience that. It ceases, it has no footing, and that continuity ends, and you don't exist beyond vitality, and your life will continue. And after staying in that state for a moment, or for as long as you may, and you emerge from it, and you can go read Majjhima Nikāya 44 to understand how the emerging from that cessation experience occurs. there is a discussion between Visakha and Dhammadinna, and she responds to Visakha's question of what comes first and so on. You see, this discourse that way is really beautiful, and it has a complete set of directions and teachings for us to establish ourselves in loving kindness practice, compassion practice, altruistic joy practice, and equanimity practice, and bringing that practice to everything we do, everything, starting from waking up to the day's ending by going to bed. So everything that we do becomes part of our practice. So this morning we had a meal offering in the temple, and because it's also the day that people come to spend a day at the temple, full moon day, we had people come over with breakfast at 5:30. So we started doing the service at 6, and by 6:30 we were having breakfast, and the lady who brought food was angry with a group of people who didn't show up that at the exact time that she told them to show up. So I think they were bringing some milk rice or something. There was milk rice already, enough for us monks, but I was observing the state of her mind, where she was doing this wonderful dana ceremony, and yet she was also not practicing the very Buddhism she was supposed to protect and practice. And it was a moment for her to show her loving kindness to that. They showed up, and we had already finished the meal, and they felt embarrassed. That was not necessary at all. She could have shown loving kindness to them and say, it's okay, we had enough milk rice, there's food for all of us now. See, you can still offer something to monks. So she could have brought loving kindness to that whole experience of them. And that's the moment sometimes Buddhists forget. They are good at giving danas in a magnificent way, and they think that completes the path and practice, and yet they fail to develop their mind. They fail to bring to heart that loving kindness and show that. I could hear that whole entire phone call from outside where we were eating, and she was furious. That was not necessary at all. Okay, with that I switch over to the book that recently came out. David, do you have it somewhere?
Yeah.
It's a foot pilgrimage I did in Sicily with Bhante Sudaso, Ayasoma, Ayabrahmavara, and myself. And David carefully chose this title, One Foot After Another. In the beginning I had a different title. It was called Empty Ball Mindful, because this one day when we stood for alms, we received nothing. So but that was a moment for us to observe our minds and be full of equanimity. We did receive some food because we had befriended some friends of friends, and they brought food to us. They brought some arancini. Arancini is some kind of orange shaped stuffed rice. So they would stuff it with some meat or some kind of thing. So there's arancini, and they brought pasta and stuff. This was Italy, so you can't not have pasta. And the foot pilgrimage is actually a practice that is being done by Buddhist monks, very popular among Thai Buddhist monks, and it's called a Tiudong practice in Thai tradition. And Tiudong is rooted in the Pali word Dutanga, and Dutanga means shredding of defilements. You see, these are the four of us. We just had no lay supporter walking with us, and we had no map, and we started um, up in the mountains. Somewhere we got off the train station in this station called Acqua Dolce. I guess it means clear waters or something. And we started walking up the hill, and of course people see us and they say, this is not a tourist area, this is a farmland. And then they say there are these dogs that protect the farmlands, and the dogs that protect horses and other farm animals, so they can be a little aggressive. So we still, Ayasoma is Italian. She would often respond to them and say, well, we do this practice, and they say, where will you sleep? No hotels here. And we say we will be camping. We had our tents. Each one of us had our tiny tent that we would have to find a equal ground somewhere, even ground somewhere. So we would set it up and sleep. See, we are greeting cats wherever we went.
The horse too.
And the horse, yes. So uh, we had good karma. It was in November in the year 2023, slightly cold, and I was the one complaining the most of the time. The other monks have done this practice before, so they knew what to expect. And
Talk about the alms in front of the grocery store. That's really
yeah,
sad.
this is that grocery store, and people were curious as to why we were standing there. They think that we were expecting some monetary donations. We weren't. We refused money, and when some people asked why we were doing that, and we explained that this is part of our practice, and then when they learned that we were just there to receive some food, and they went into the store. So choosing a grocery store is the best thing to do, and they would bring some bread. So, each one of us would share, receive different things, and we share. We sit in a park like this, and we share. So then people gather sometimes to receive blessings, and sometimes they find us and they recognize us. They think that we are those Capuchin monks. So these are some nuns that we met along the way back to our one of our residences during the walk. This is before the walk, actually. This is before we started the walk. This is when we were teaching in the area before we started the foot pilgrimage. And so some days we would receive some dry bread, and we would eat it with olive oil only, and that's it. And your mind has to stay in a state that mind likes to stay, and you observe that state of the mind.
Must have lost
And
some weight along the way.
I was expecting to, but I guess we were eating so much bread that
Yeah.
it didn't help that much. We did walk a lot, so this is us teaching very short weekend retreats. It's up. The book is up on Amazon, and David
Yeah.
can send the link to everyone. So,
Yeah.
um,
All right. Do you want to do some Q&A or?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed the bathroom your examples, bathroom Dhamma.
Yeah,
That's great to see everything with equanimity and just clean it up. Somebody left it.
yeah,
I do it all the time.
yeah.
Goodness.
Like Bhante said, life is meditation, meditation is
Uh,
life.
that's very good. Yeah. Does anybody have a question for Bhante? You can raise your hand or just say something.
How long was that journey for you guys?
It was 10 days. 10 days, but I didn't do the entire 10 day. I did about 8.5 because I was bruised with my walking, and I had to go to a temple to rest. Um, and I'm glad I skipped that last day because it rained heavily, and those other monastics did not get any rest, and they were soaked in water.
Oh no.
And there, yeah, and of course, condensation and all that rainwater and the noise. Oh, there's this one day actually. This reminds me of this farm dog finding my tent in the woods and barking at it like 2 hours. And I think had I walked out of my tent, I think I would have like lost a limb or something. They were that aggressive.
Ah,
And the next morning, a villager found us.
yeah, I
So,
think towards the end you were talking about like, I think I'm coming to the end of my rope here. And then the next day everything seemed better.
yes, mind plays these games, giving, the idea of giving up, and then
Yeah,
like, and hating the monk who gives directions,
yeah.
and not realizing that we are not walking on flat even ground, we are walking up the hill, and it's like the Buddha saying, um, the words like of pure Dhamma is pure in the um, beginning, pure in the middle, pure in the end, but this whole Tyudong was suffering in the beginning, suffering in the middle, suffering in the end. Oh, so
Willie,
but it was fun. It taught us a lot. I think, well, my
yeah,
whole message under this entire writing part is that 10 years a monk and 10 days a Tyudong practice. I believe 10 days a Tyudong practice teaches more than
mm,
staying in a temple 10 years as a monk. So
mhm.
that's why we should do it, and that's why
Well,
we should do it more often. And I look forward to doing it again. This shows why monks and nuns did wander from one place to another, not having any plan, not knowing who will give you your next meal,
mm,
not having just merits in your basket, trusting your merits and the triple gem, and relying on complete strangers. That's all you have.
wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Of course.
Quilly, you want to have,
Fully.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you for doing that pilgrimage. I wanted to ask about in the repulsive there is the unrepulsive, and in the unrepulsive there is the repulsive. And as you know, down here in the U.S., we're having some of us think there is some repulsive going on. And I do recognize no human is evil, and I just wonder how to skillfully practice with that, because the mind does go off into no, and maybe you could speak a little to the practicality of that practice.
Um, well, this is a problem that many people experience nowadays with what is happening with the politics and the leadership, and this is an opportunity for us to practice indeed. And one thing I tell people is to not follow any news. And I'm not even judging you for watching TV or following BBC or anything. It's okay to get some updates. It's hard not to. You always see something up there on a screen. We are dealing with an infodemic, like a pandemic. Too much information flooding our minds. So it's unnecessary, and I think most of us have switched off all these channels that bring us information about what is happening out there. One thing we can do is to radiate loving kindness to the leadership, to all those other folks who are in that powerful positions that make decisions, and that way our hearts, when repulsed, we hold it in a place of loving kindness in a dear way, and it's not sickening anymore in that way. So I always, when I teach children, I say, I teach this quote. Someone said, I find TV very educational. Every time someone turns on a set, I go read a book.
Well, but my question about that is that then I'm really not strengthening my mind and strengthening my practice.
I believe
you are.
You are. The moment you bring loving kindness to your heart inwardly and outwardly, right? The moment you see that smile coming up, the moment you start to admire the bird outside the window, the moment you pet your dog, or the moment you do any of that, you are disconnected from that repulsive channel. You are bringing to your heart a moment of nibbana, moment of peace. There's no other practice as excellent as that you can do in that moment. And that is thanks to whatever the channel that brought that thing in your heart, so that you bring loving kindness right then and there. So it's an invitation for us to continue the practice. The Buddha in Mettā Sahagata Sutta, 11 benefits of love, radiating loving kindness, says, make it your vehicle, make it your precious jewel, make it your continuous companion, and bring it to the fullest development. So anytime this happens, maybe it is habitual, you break that habit, or you allow that habit to be there. You don't resist it, because what you resist persists. So you just allow it to be there. Lovingly hold space, because what is a reason has a lifespan, and they live and they die. So you just hold it with loving kindness, and it will disappear. And that's a great element of your practice that you will experience there.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Paul. Yes, people are still joining, thinking that we start
It's
at
10. Yeah.
this time. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to add something. The old thing that for newspapers, the way that they would put their headlines on is, if it bleeds, it leads.
Mm.
In other words, if it's something terrifying and horrible, that's what they're going to show you. Because why? They want subscribers, and they want your money and your eyes, and then these days they want your clicks. So if you're watching this stuff, you are the product. You are the one paying money to watch these things, and they are the ones giving you the opportunity to give them views and clicks. Being a YouTuber myself, it's all about getting clicks, getting views, because of course we want views so that people understand the Dhamma and come to the Dhamma. But all these other guys, we don't monetize anything. They're monetizing every time you click it, they get paid. And that's the only reason they're doing this. And some of them are doing just because they want to show things, but a lot of it's it's all about profit. So
Hmm.
keep in mind, this is not what you're watching, but the fact that you're supporting this channel to show you this stuff. That's all. It's the news. That's the way they work. They make money.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? So Bhante's book is available on Amazon and Kindle and paperback, and he will be doing a retreat April 9th here at Dhamma Sukha. And Bhante, you have your own channel, right? As well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kusala TV.
Kusala TV. Okay. Wholesome TV. Very
Yeah.
good. Uh-huh.
That you can watch.
Yes. You can watch, and
Or TWIM channel, you can watch that, or
all
Delson's channel.
all of our TWIM channels. That's right. That's right. So I guess we should probably share some merit, which
Yeah.
oh, we have all these people coming in. So oh goodness. I guess they did not get the word here. Sundays. Okay, wait a
You
minute.
can pretend like we are starting and
Yeah, shall we just do it again? I mean, let's see, sharing merit. For everybody who's come in, we're finishing up. We just listened to Bhante Kusala doing the accompanied by Lovingkindness Sutta and talking about his book. So you'll have to watch the rerun on that. Let me see. Oh goodness, they're just pouring in here. Okay, let me see here. But what we're gonna do is we'll share the merit screen, and maybe Bhante, you can lead us in merit.
May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Bhante, did you want to say a few things about the Peace House in Boston?
Yeah, Peace House is a small, tiny temple in the city of Cambridge, and I, along with some friends, including Bhante Samhita and our main supporter Carl Buntel, we established this place right in between Harvard and MIT universities on Broadway, and it has about 3 levels from the ground up and a basement level. The basement level is equipped with this kitchenette and a meeting area, and each level has bathrooms, and it's also a place for people to practice and do their silent retreats, readings. And then the ground level, and then the meditation room level along together. Adjacent to that is a meditation guest room, and then the top level is another kitchen with 2 rooms for 2 residents, one for me, one for Bhante Samhita. And Bhante Samhita is now in Sri Lanka. According to his visa restrictions, he has to spend a year and reapply from Sri Lanka and come back. And right now there's no Buddhist monk from our tradition living in Peace House, but I offer teachings remotely from Toronto. There is a resident, his name is Bushin. He's living there. He's from the Zen tradition. He's a novice priest from the Zen tradition. He was a student of Harvard University, and he's living there now. And Bhante Saṁyutta is teaching remotely once a month on full moon days. He did his teaching yesterday. And so we are connected remotely. I was supposed to go there starting from January, and but I am told to come to Detroit to cover for this monk who is recovering from surgery, and they are short-staffed, short-monked there. So I'm going to Detroit for a couple of months, and then I will see if I can join with Peace House, but I haven't given them a word yet. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a place you can visit. It's best you check out the schedule and then maybe attend a meditation session when you visit Boston.
Okay, very good. All right. Any other further comments from anybody, or we're going to call it a wrap? All right.
It's
Thank you
wonderful
then.
to see everyone.
Yeah, it's great. It looks like we've got everybody now, our usual near 38. So the video will be playing here shortly after, well, around toward the end of today. And last week's video is up as well that Delson did. He was on a little trip here. So, all right. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy weekend.
Thank you.
Take care, Delson. Take care, Kirsten. See you.
See you.